This is a season of games. There was a game on this morning. I'm hoping to not find out the answer to what happened and watch it later today, but kind of what happens with the Super Bowl season as we look at the U.S. and Canada playing hockey this morning. It's an exciting time, and we think about games and we think about this type of season and competition and the things that are going on in the world. And sometimes, world events, do these countries really hate each other, and do these players really hate each other, or is this just good competition? And in this season of games, we were recently on a family trip uh, to Houston, and with all the cousins, we got into a family friendly game of dodgeball. So some of the grown-ups and all the kids went out to the little park lot that they had kind of across the street from my cousin's house, and we got out a bunch of balls, and in this nice grassy open lot, pretty flat. A couple obstacles out there, some things to worry about, but we had now this was the smaller dodgeballs. They're a little bit easier to throw, and they're kind of foam filled. When I was a kid, we had those playground balls that made that specific sound. And if you've ever been hit by one of those, that sound, and the imprint of that ball on your face at some point, they really could sting. But as we think about this, I started drawing all the parallels to the scriptures that I can find from a game of dodgeball. And so, in trying to make something that's memorable for you, and this is Greg and I laugh. I always try and come up with some theme. There's always I try to get something that'll stick with you. So, a dodgeball, and maybe you'll never see a red ball again without thinking of the sermon, and that'd be great. Or maybe you'll just think about how bad a job I did delivering it, but that's okay. You can always ask somebody with more talent to redeliver this sermon later. Uh, so, I want to take a look at some lessons from dodgeball. And the biggest one and the biggest lesson and kind of the theme here is outnumbered. Outnumbered is tough. And as Christians, we're just going to look at it and we're just going to put it out there. We have a teammate. We're never outnumbered. But when you're on when you go out and you pick up the dodgeballs and you count up, you're trying to make fair teams. Sometimes the teams get stacked with better players, sometimes with better numbers, sometimes, especially because we had little kids all the way through grown adults, and so you're kind of trying to figure out how much are they going to contribute versus them. And then there's also just raw numbers. When you go to pick up the ball, do you start with equal amounts of balls, and at some point all the balls have been thrown from your team and you're there hoping to just dodge, and you don't have any offensive weapons? And as we think about this, there's a lot of little parallels that we'll be able to draw here in a relatively short amount of time. Certainly less than 45 minutes, I could get this done. Okay. Uh, there's a spiritual battle before us. There's in Ephesians 6:12, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in the heavenly places. There is a spiritual battle going on, and there's no bystanders. Sometimes if there was families walking by the park and they got hit with the ball, we'd say, "Oh, sorry, we know you weren't playing. We didn't mean to throw. We didn't tell." The kid that you weren't in the game, we didn't mean to hit you. There's no innocent bystanders in the spiritual warfare that's going on in the world. And some people say, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to be involved in that. I don't want to be in that game. I'm just going to sit from the sideline. Well, they don't realize they've chosen a side. When you're not on God's side, when you're not on the side of righteousness, when you're taking time off, there's no time out for you. You're not engaged in battle, then you've lost. Um, but as we look at the spiritual battle ahead of us, the pressure is real. And I was surprised as we ran around with the kids how rapidly my heart rate went through the roof, and I could feel my heart beating out of my chest in just 20 seconds, because there's a lot going on. Your adrenaline spikes. There's balls flying at you. There's balls that you're trying to hit somebody. You're just trying to run away and create distance between you and somebody else. A ball comes, you're leaping out of nowhere. And, at 48 years old, leaping when you're not properly warmed up, it can be treacherous all on its own. But there's peril that you realize, and there's exhaustion that comes on quickly. There's exertion happening. Have you ever been in a Bible discussion with somebody where they catch you with a verse that you weren't expecting and you don't know how to answer the question? And sometimes you have to admit, I wasn't prepared for this discussion. But one of those things that does to you when you realize that you were unprepared for that discussion, unprepared for battle, is that you'll go, okay, I'm going to go figure that out so that next time I understand what's going on with that verse. So next time I understand not just what I believe, but why I believe it. Not just what to do, but where the Bible tells me that's what I'm supposed to do, right? Because we can, as we know from, some of Jordan's sermons in the past and things like that, you can live a life that looks from the outside in to be a good life, a wholesome life, and still not be doing any of it for Jesus. So it's all just worldly, right? So if we don't understand where it's coming from, why we're doing good, maybe we're not actually doing good. Maybe we're just doing whatever is coming to us in the moment. So we have to understand the scriptures, and we have to understand that this battle is real, um, and chaotic. There's uh, lots of people that are running in lots of directions, even in this little image that AI generated for me, and I think it did a decent job. Right? As we look at this, dodgeball is a chaotic game. If you're not paying attention, there's a lot of action going on. There's a lot of things, and even in the open lot that we were playing in, there was a hole that we had to stick something in so that everybody would go, "Hey, don't step there. You'll definitely break an ankle if you step in that." And if you're running away from somebody and you're looking over your shoulder, there were trees out there, which are great to hide behind, but not when you're looking over your shoulder and running this direction. So you could definitely uh, have other things going on, and even in all the balls flying around and the competitions happen, friendly fire sometimes happens, right? Now that might not, by the rules of the game, might not be out if you got hit by your teammate's ball, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt or surprise you or sting. That friendly fire, if we think about that in the church, is the careless words that sometimes happen, the misunderstandings between brethren, the they said this to me in that way and I felt this way about it, and it wasn't ever intended to hurt, but it does. Church hurt happens because we're all people, we're imperfect. uh, what you're really looking for in order to make sure you don't get the friendly fire is the best teammate. You want the best teammate, the guy with the strongest arm, the most accurate. You want the Tom Brady of teammates, right? The guy that's or you pick your favorite quarterback. Lamar Jackson. Yes, we're local Ravens fans. Pick the most accurate quarterback you can think of. Maybe for some of us that's back in the Joe Montana days or whatever. But you think of that guy that had the perfect arm, the golden arm. That's the guy you want on your teammate. The guy that can strategize with you. The guy that can help you through. The guy or gal that is just they're just good, that best player out there. 1 John 4:4, you're from God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Capital He, as we talked about capitals and lower cases, and my version did a decent job with this one. He that is in us, he that is indwelling in us, the Lord indwelling in us is greater than that of the world. We have the perfect teammate. We have a teammate that's not going to accidentally betray us and hit us in the back of the head with a ball while we're trying to run away, right? He's not going to let you down. He's going to be there to support you, to pick you up, to help you run, to make you better, to give you defense, maybe imagine even a ball flying at you and a teammate diving in the way and knocking that ball away or catching that ball so that you don't get out when the ball is flying your direction. And the rules of dodgeball are pretty simple. I don't know if I didn't really go over that. If you get hit by the ball, you're out. Um, and and any ball that's laying around is available to you. And this was an open field, so you didn't have to stay on your half of a court. It was free for all style. And we had one other rule in this, which um, was that we there's a catch rule, and in the catch rule you can um, normally you can play that two ways. One, if you catch a ball that somebody throws at you, they are out. Or the other one that we played with was you can make a choice of either they're out or you get to bring a teammate back. So having that best teammate's important, right? Having that best teammate, and greater is he that is in us than any of those that are in the world. Our teammate that we have spiritually is not just support, he's also kind of the referee. He's the authoritative source on the field. He has all authority here. He is the one that's saying, these are the rules that you're going to play by, and I'm going to be enforcing them, and I'm going to be your advocate when we go forth to make that final judgment. It's not just that he is backup sitting on the sidelines. You can't have Jesus sitting on the sidelines in your life. You've got to have him active with you in order to achieve victory. And the interesting thing is, the battle's decided. He's won. It's just really for us, are we going to be on the right team? It's really an interesting thing. Now, in dodgeball, you can't be running around switching teams, right? But as we understand here, Jesus is going to win this battle. The spiritual battle, Jesus is winning. And if we align ourselves with him, if we put him in the game, if we put ourselves with him, then we have his protection, we have his salvation. We need to be armed and alert. Bigger scripture makes for a smaller smaller picture. But let's take a look here first with Ephesians 6 and 13 through 17. Therefore, take up the full armor of God, so that you will be able to resist in the evil day, and having done everything, to stand firm. Stand firm, therefore, having girded your loins with truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with preparation of the gospel of peace. In addition to all, taking up the shield of faith, with which you will be able to extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of Spirit, which is the word of God. I don't know how I didn't get sword and blue down there at the bottom, and I missed one of those fighting words there. But as we think about this, when we play dodgeball, we don't get all of this armor. We say, well, a lot of that's not needed. It's not a deadly game, shouldn't be. So you don't get a helmet, you don't get a breastplate, but you do have to shod your feet, right? You got to put your Crocs in sport mode when you're playing these games. You have to. It's nice to have, and sometimes when you're out there running around on the grass, if it's a little bit slick, you think, I wish I had some actual cleats. I wish I actually had the right thing for this. Now in dodgeball, also your defensive capability is the same as your offense. You just have your hands, right? You can catch that ball defensively, but if you're holding a ball, and that's what I was trying to get AI to draw for us here, is a kid blocking a ball with the ball that's in his hands. You can block with that ball, and that keeps you safe. So that same weapon, and what actually really kind of comes in neat here, as the scriptures are describing all of these actual battle armaments, really all of it turns back to Christ is the one, and the scriptures, the book is the one armament that covers everything. And so when we think about just having just a dodgeball that is your offense and your defensive capability, it is just like the scriptures. It's got everything you need right there. And so um, when we're did I miss something here? I did. That's not good when you get up to the front and you get one of these pages that's that's blank on both sides. How does that happen? Okay. Oh my. So as we look here at being armed and alert, um, getting back here, the that shield is your defense, right? That ball is your defense. That ball is your offense. And fatigue makes you slow, right? As you run, as you work hard and your heart gets elevated, what do you end up doing? You bend over and you breathe and you huff and puff and you hope nobody's attacking you right now. You hope that a teammate steps in to help you right then. Think about your fatigue in the world. COVID kind of got us all for a while. We were tired of being at home. We were tired of not being able to do this, tired of not being able to do that. Now work has been really busy. I was at work yesterday, crazily enough. I was there for half a day working, and I just went in to take Chick-fil-A to the team that was there, and then I ended up getting drug into everything that was going on. And we said, "Wow, we're here on a Saturday. I hope we don't get burnt out. I hope we don't get fatigued." When we think about constant slings and arrows, constant battle that happens in our spiritual lives, think about the fatigue that can happen. Well, what did God do for us? He gave us a place where the team can huddle together and rest. Right? He says, "I'll take care of you. Come on in here once a week." Now, this is supposed to be refreshing for us when we show up here. This is not supposed to be taxing to show up on a Sunday morning. It's not supposed to be a thing that drains you spiritually when you show up to a service. So while we try to build you up, we also you got to learn, right? Sometimes you'll get one of those things where, okay, I've got to make some changes. Sometimes we do have to grow while we're here, but this is our refuge. This is our safe place. And we said, and a long time ago, some people decided, let's have another Bible study. Let's make sure we meet in the middle of the week too and try to get together a little bit more. And we'll put it right kind of in the middle to give us another chance to look at the scriptures in the middle of the week together. The interesting thing, though, is if the Lord is our refuge, He's always with us. He's always a page turn away, right? It's amazing how you can have a book that is so big, that has so much in it, but has meaning in such small spaces. You think you'll be going through and there's just on every page, there might be 5, 10 things that you could apply to your life in a single day. And all we have to do is turn to it and just read a little bit and just soak it in when we get exhausted because He's with us always. But we're on high alert. We're on high alert. We're armed, we're ready, and we need refuge every once in a while. And when you're tired and you can't run anymore and you've thrown your ball and your hands are empty and you're bent over and on your knees, you need your teammate because unarmed and exhausted is dangerous. Don't find yourself in the world today, in the spiritual world. It's all dodgeball, yes, but it's all spiritual. That's the spiritual application here is don't find yourself unarmed and alone and exhausted. Rally around your teammates. Have a call for help from your teammates as we think about this. And I think we've done a pretty good job of this with each other recently. I don't, as people are going through tough times, we're all saying, "What can I do?" And sometimes there's not much. Sometimes there really is something. Sometimes just asking, "What can I do?" is enough. Sometimes, in a game of dodgeball, when you see one of your teammates surrounded, if you just run up and pull the ball back, it makes the other team retreat a little bit. Oh no, they're about to throw it at us, and it gives your teammate a chance to escape. Just offering help can be a change to somebody's life and their whole outlook on their situation. We have a fortress. We have a place to hide behind. We have the Lord. In Psalm 18:2 and 3, the Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I will call upon the Lord who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. Tell you, there are times where I couldn't run anymore. Being the old man out there, I think I was the oldest one in the group, and my gray beard was showing. And we were running around. And at one point, I just got behind a tree and okay, I'm here. At least from this direction, I'm safe. I got to watch for people coming around from behind, but at least from here, I'm safe. I have refuge. I can hide. I have something firm that I can rely upon. If you're hiding behind your teammates, they can jump and move and they're trying to do the same thing you are, right? But the Lord is that teammate. The Lord provides us a refuge, a place where we are safe from our enemies. There are sometimes, though, when we would, if you're hiding there and you can't just sit back there and close your eyes and say, now I'm safe, right? The world is changing around us. And there are things that might seem safe to you. There are things that might seem to be a fortress, but there are false fortresses in the world. And we see this in our neighbors, in our community. We see success as a false fortress. People think, "Well, I've made it. I've got the mansion. I got the Lamborghini. I got the boat. I got the stuff. What do I need God for?" It's a false fortress. Those walls are paper thin. They're not stopping anything. Busyness. False fortress. Well, I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm constantly doing. I'm constantly doing. Constantly moving. And I'm a kinetic person. I like to be moving. I like to be doing things. But there's also that I can't assume that just because I'm presumably working that I am safe and in a fortress. You can have a false fortress of your own reputation. You know, my reputation protects me from these things. My reputation is one of this. Now, if you're living up to that reputation, that's one thing. But if you have the skeleton in the closet, this secret hidden sin, your reputation is really just as empty as anything else. And really, the reputation that we need to be relying on is His reputation to cover us for all of our failures. Our religious routine can even be a false fortress, right? I go to church every week. I go to Bible study. I go to the 10 o'clock when they're just sitting around talking about the scriptures, and then I go to the 11 o'clock where Craig gets up there and talks too long, and then I go on Wednesdays at 7, and then I also I subscribe to 4 or 5 different accounts where they tell me things about Jesus all week long, and I look at them every day. But if we're not really in the battle, if we are not on the Lord's side, then He's not on ours. Right? So we can be going through these things as false fortresses. All right, moving on. Alone is difficult. Scary place to be when the other team has all the balls and you're running. You know there's going to be three, four, five coming at once. Alone is difficult. Alone is scary. Hebrews 10:24. Let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembly together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as the day, as you see the day drawing near. When we think about that level of alone, it's not just about counting heads in the room to make sure that everybody's here. Counting heads in the room is making sure that nobody's missing, that nobody's alone. I spent 5 or 6 years as a lifeguard in high school and into college. And when you're sitting in the stand, they teach you to count heads. You count heads in the pool. And you're going through, and they say you got to see everybody every 10 seconds because it only takes 20 to drown. And so when we look at that, you're sitting there going, okay, I got 13 over here. I got 5 over here. Got 13 over here, 5 over here. I've got 13 over here. Why are there only 4 over here? Where'd that other kid go? Where'd that other person go? Oh, there they are. They just popped up from underneath. I couldn't see them. They were behind that other person. Great. I've now counted everybody again. Let me go back and do it again. And as you do those things, it teaches you to worry about the one that's missing more than what everybody's doing. The one that's missing, the one that's hidden, the one that's obfuscated, is the one that's in peril. This same thing, if when we're counting heads, when we're looking at the Lord's team, we're looking for the one that's missing. Alone is difficult. The last one standing in a game, if it's your best player, like we got a shot. When the last one standing was the littlest of the kids, and everybody's walking over and going, "Okay, let's toss a ball, kind of drop a ball on him." He's cowering in a corner, and we're talking a 4-year-old, right? When the 4-year-old is the last kid standing, if the adults we take pity on him. We go, "Oh, okay, here we go." But if I was the last one standing, there was an expectation that I could do something. Expectation might have been a little bit grandstanded. It might not have been worthy. I might not have been worthy of it. But when my cousin Mitchell was the last one, he's got great hands. When he was the last one in, I'd say, "Okay, we got a chance. Just catch a ball. Just get somebody back in." And when I was the last one, just catch a ball. Just get somebody back in because um, when you're the last one standing, you feel like you have no hope. Um, so you really want to be not in that isolated, vulnerable state. And one catch changes everything. If we think about that idea, the idea of being able to bring somebody back into the game, bringing a teammate back, how amazing is that, right? Galatians 6:1, brethren, if anyone is caught in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, each one looking to yourself so that you too will not be tempted. Watch out that you don't get knocked out of the game, right? Watch out that you're not getting hit, but catch the ball and allow somebody to rejoin, restore somebody. That choice at that point of being able to bring somebody back in the game when you were so outnumbered, and you say, "I choose you. I choose the best player that's out there to come back in and help me." Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have renewed vigor. What have you done? You've put somebody back in the game who was sidelined, who was out, who was gone. When you know that there's somebody that maybe you grew up with, maybe that you worshiped with in the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s or just 2 years ago, if you're one of our younger people, and you don't see them on a regular basis now, you have to wonder, are they safe or are they isolated alone or out of the game completely? Right? When we're taking stock, when we're counting numbers, when we're looking through our people, when you scroll through your phone, is everybody that's in your contact list, have you talked to them about God? That contacts list gets pretty big, and sometimes you go, "Well, it's kind of inappropriate for that person. I got to wait for that relationship to change because it's a professional relationship, it's a work relationship." Okay, how do you make it not one day, right? How do you just drop the hint that, "Hey, I can't make that meeting. I got to study for Bible class." I don't know. How do you how do you just drop it out there and see if you can navigate those waters? And sometimes it is appropriate and you can get in a little trouble at work, so be careful of that. I'm not saying that you got to put yourself in choose your timing correctly. um Sorry, I hit that. There we go. Choose your timing correctly. But if we went through and we were taking stock of all the people in our lives, is there somebody that we could potentially restore? Is there somebody that we could reach out to and have the right words? Or maybe we say to our teammate, "Hey, catch that ball and get Jimmy back in the game." you know or you see your teammate ready to catch a ball and you say, "Choose Jimmy, go after that one." Maybe we're not the right person that can do it. Maybe it takes somebody else to reach out to that friend, to reach out to that person who needs to be restored. Maybe maybe my spirit of gentleness is not the right spirit. Maybe it's not gentle enough. Maybe I don't have the right words, but maybe this person is actually great at that, and you can just, "Hey, could you talk to Jimmy for me? I really want to see if we can get him to come back. I think he's hurting." It's a huge deal when you can bring somebody back, because not only have you increased your chances, you've given yourself another teammate to be in the battle with, but you've taken them, snatched them from the fire. One catch changes everything. It's not just about surviving yourself, it's about restoring those around us. All right, so he is overcome. John 16:33. These things I have spoken to you so that in me you may have peace. In the world you have tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world. So if he is overcome, if he's, as we said, he's already won the battle, really, when we really look at it. He's overcome. Are we on his team? Are we celebrating with the player that won? Or are we on the other team? Since we know who's going to win, the choice should be easy. Which team do you want to be on? Which team do you want to be on? The good team or the bad team? And it's really is that that simple in this analogy. You may feel surrounded, you may feel exhausted, you may feel out, but if he's overcome, then there's always a chance. The best player's always in the game. When we're counting heads, when we're looking for lost, don't forget to count Christ. Count what Christ has done for you in your life. Count what Christ will do and can continue to do. Count on him and count with him. Because with him, we're never outnumbered. So, a couple final questions here. Are you hiding behind the wrong tree? Are you playing solo? Are you exhausted? Are you empty handed? Are you without weapons? Are you ready to catch what God places in your hand and bring someone back? Are you ready to actually step up and be a good teammate for those around you? I worked on this last slide a lot last night. Not this one, the next one. AI failed me over and over and over and over to try and get this right. So I did reach out to, I sent an email late night to Becca. She probably hasn't even seen it. It's like, could you help me with this? It's close, but it's not there. So this is the same, that black and white graphic that we've had. And I was trying to get it better. And I think about 40 versions in, my AI assistant was telling me this might not be the best tool for you to do this work. But the real question that we have this morning is, are we on his team? God's done his part. He's won the game, right? But to get on his team, we have to hear, we have to believe, we have to repent, we have to confess, we have to be baptized, and we have to remain faithful. We could fall off the stairs at any one of those steps, and we're not making it to the top. You can slide down the stairs and start over again if you have to. I don't know where you are in your journey today, but if there's any one of these steps that looks too tall for you to take the next one, that's what we're here for. That's what your team is here for. That's what we're here for. Make sure that you have taken every step so that you can be in that saved relationship with Jesus. If you have any needs of the congregation, please come and talk to me while we stand and sing the invitation song.